Good day, my name is Carl Terver. I am an editor, writer, and poet, founding editor of a magazine, and the author of A Girl at Rubicon and Glory to the Sky. And these are the poems I love. The first poem I'm reading is by Vershima Agema, and it's titled The Vanity of a Scholar's Dream. 1. The window shows me a thick fog. I look closer and see a dead dog. 2. No one will tell you a man died here, decked in the glory of a mighty home, laurels in a truckload. This is where blood spills. It is the hanging axe at your neck, pushing you to breathe a lie. This is where your voice lives. This is where your man dies. Starlit brighten nights, save me from my thousand fears. Save me from the tears of an evil sun, a clouded soul with a cloak too thick. I fall asleep on many nights to a vision. Mother spits blessings into the river Benue. River, mother, river, this is for the child of my broken waters. You must protect him, mother river. River that saved us from invaders as we left Swam Hills, riding on Ikarim the snake. We are saved of the water. No water shall defeat us. Hound molds her words into favor, and peace calls for the damnation of dollars. Pound. Then become a chained stone to my heels. The sea beckons from my window in Brighton's marina, but I drown the sounds in work. Then women, drinks, and events, grasping for glory as the last straw, gasping for life while loneliness hugs me close, calling me to go to the sea again and become one with it. Mother's prayers call from across the river, and I struggle while the sea sings sonorous songs, inviting me to be a witness to its dark bed. On these dead winter nights, a scholar writes his soul away, crashing to 1,000 sins of the damned, lost to a cloudless sky, a calling sea, and the loneliness of endless depths. I am reading from Jakky Bankong-Obi's What Still Eats chapbook from the African Poetry Book Fund, and I am reading Reincarnation as the Flowers on Your Sister's Grave. And maybe this is how you came to be the last. Daughter, a child to be loved after a lifetime of trying to keep alive. In another native tongue, you're Ogbanje. In another time, when your mother believed in soulmates, said, the gods gave us these men and they are rough. But when you wilted again and again, she tried to suckle you on the leaves of your dead matter, fed you your gnarled navels for 7 days until your tongue mustard like fungus fingers inside a carcass, lapping on old bone, or smelting in the barrel of mouth, until you maggoted your way through dead tissue, through the lost dreams of a once wanted life, until you exhausted the peril of your past into flowers, incarnated at last. The third poem I love is by Romeo, Oriogun, and it's titled, In the Middle of August, I Saw the Sky. One morning on a wet day during the week, in which I had sharpened my cutlass from dark till dawn, braving for the stubbornness of wet leaves, for the wet branches of trees that grew across the farm path, snatching at legs, saying in their quiet voices, there is nowhere you can escape from life. There is nowhere you can escape from the resurrection of dead things. Then there was the wild that stood before me, an old forest filled with the survivors of fallen trees, where macabre monkeys called and responded to each other. And if one was lucky, a big bird with red and white plumage like a cloth wrapped around the bruised body of the dead would fly by, saying nothing, like the dead moving from one life to another. Migratory like the wild boar who woke himself out of a grave he dug last evening. Everything was a prelude to wonder. The roots of trees gossiped different farmers, mocking those whose crops have withered. I sung the ballad of the river, having crossed the gully. I turned toward my farm. Scarecrows made out of my grandfather's clothes welcomed me to the earth. And I welcomed the many dead, those who walked in my shadow. There was no time to finish the work of nature. I sat on a rotten log and viewed row after row of young pineapples, all of them blossoming like little eyes, watching me back. And I thought, all of the eyes that were here, the trees, the birds, the seeds ready to break from the past like men running away from an old city, the deer watching me behind safety of leaves, and the earth itself, all of us watching the sky, waiting for rain or for the silence to teach us a lesson, some lesson about faith. After a while, it was all over. I picked up my cutlass, cutting down the first weed, cutting down the world, as the trees stared at the duty of man, which was the duty of hands. I also read a poem of mine. It's titled, May We Not Create a Vocabulary of Borders. Man misses his way in an exodus from the home his fathers built in the Sudan, and fails to arrive in the new country when the old one was partitioned. In his wilderness, no border in sight, 4 men on horses carrying the weapons of the old country arrived to grant him repose. May the curse of the queen be lifted from him. He takes their kindness too far and asks, where is the border? I am from the south. I am from the south. It is the last song that ties his tongue to the road of remembrance. I read poems, and it's not all poems that are retentive that I can recall that, oh, this is such and such poem. So these poems, like Romeo's poem, for example, I like, that is, in the middle of August, I saw the sky. I can say I'm a rural boy. So the setting of the poem, sharpening of the cutlass, going to the farm, you know, I can see myself in the poem. I understand we talked about the deer, for example, watching from the safety of leaves. You know, you're the farmer, you're the conqueror, so to speak. You've gone to subdue the earth. But in this poem, for example, the earth is subduing the man. You know, so there's a way Romeo captures how all of that goes on, the dynamics, you know, talking about other aspects of the fauna and flora that isn't just man right now. So I think that is what makes me recall a poem like that. So in this poem of the one he wrote when he was in Brighton, The Vanity of a Scholar's Dream, I could also see myself in it somehow. But of course, the line, no one will tell you a man died here. And also the line of, it is the hanging axe on your neck pushing you to breathe a lie. And it's a very, very sharp memoir of the exilic life or the diasporic life, for example. You know, we often think that, okay, maybe leaving home sometimes is to find some sort of home away from home, but there's that knowing feeling that sometimes returns to you. And I think it was something I was able to connect to. And for Jakky's poem, I was actually sent Jakky's poem as a photograph on WhatsApp. So at the festival when she came, I was like, "It's your chapbook here," which she said, yes, so I got it. So I was able to just open and locate the poem that I was looking for. Yeah, and I love the simplicity of the poem. I have a thing for the word incarnation. I think anyway it appears, I can always remember that, okay, I read incarnation. So, and the last line is, until you exhausted the peril of your past into flowers, incarnated at last. So there's just no way I would see incarnation and not recall it. I think it's a wonderful word to appear in poetry, because I don't know, it's a fine word. So these are the reasons why I can recall this poem. So many poems too. These are just a few that I love. One other poem that I must mention here, because I cannot read it due to lack of access to it, is Ahmed Mayawada's "Since the Breeze Began to Blow." I love that poem so much. And a few others. Yeah. I love poetry, though sometimes I feel lethargic about the whole art of poetry, the labor in having to read it, to write it, to maybe even criticize it. So there is this bipolarity. There are sometimes I feel away from poetry. Sometimes I feel very close to poetry, and I think it's a wonderful engagement, because those moments I feel close to poetry, it reminds me of the need for man to once in a while, take a break from the hassle of the world, the speed of the world, and find some tranquility. But I think we all need poetry in our lives once in a while. Thank you. My name is Carl Terver, and these are the poems that I love.